Hi, welcome to Chris Cook for You Too. I have a real treat for you today that can go on your Thanksgiving table. We're going to be making pumpkin roll. Now, the ingredients that you're going to need is going to be granulated sugar and confectioner sugar. You're going to need flour, cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg. You're going to need some vanilla extract, butter, that should be softened butter, softened cream cheese, baking powder, salt. You're going to need a can of pumpkin puree, lemon juice, walnuts. You need crushed walnuts. They didn't have them at the store, so I got chopped and I'll just crush them up here at home. And you're going to need eggs. Now, you're going to start out by taking your 3 eggs and you're going to blend them together until they're a lemony color. Now, all of the ingredients that you saw, half of it will go for, of course, the pumpkin roll part, which is the cake part of it. And some of it will go for the filling that goes inside. So we'll show you that when we get to that point. With these eggs, you're going to add granulated sugar. So you have your 3 eggs in, and you're going to beat those for about a minute, minute and a half. You want that lemony color to it, solid lemony color. And then you're going to add in your granulated sugar. Now, this is a real good recipe, and we're in the fall, we're in the autumn part of the year, and this just goes with Thanksgiving. Pumpkin and everything like that goes with Thanksgiving. So I thought that this would be a real good recipe. Now, my daughter is doing this because she does most of the baking, but this is one that she is truly good at. I have had this. This is the 3rd time that we will be having it, and we haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving because when we made the first one, we ate it, and then we turned around and made the second one. Like, okay, I'm going to freeze that, and I didn't freeze it, so we ended up eating it, so now we're on the 3rd kind. So to the lemony colored eggs, which you see, and then the granulated sugar, you're going to add your pumpkin puree. Now, as always, your ingredients are going to be listed in the description box so that you don't have to worry about. And this recipe, that pumpkin adds real good flavor to it. It looks like when you prepare the bread portion of it or the cake portion of it, it's going to look kind of like gingerbread. That's exactly what it's going to kind of look like. But this is oh so good. You're going to bake this on a cookie sheet. That's what you need, is a cookie sheet. Nothing any taller, because this is a real dense cake. So it's not going to rise up that much, but it's going to be perfect for the filling that you're going to use. Now she's adding in lemon juice, and she's going to allow that to continue to blend. Now, that was all of her liquid ingredients. Now she's going to mix together her dry ingredients, which will consist of course, the flour, and then the cinnamon, the baking powder, nutmeg, salt, it could be the baking powder right there, and so actually what she mixed together was the baking powder, the salt, the allspice, the cinnamon, and the nutmeg. And I don't know the order that she actually did it in. And it doesn't really matter as long as you just mix it all in with the flour. And the only thing that's doing is making it easier to add into your mixture. But once it's all incorporated together, uh, you don't get like the separate taste. Okay, you'll get like one solid taste. Now she's gonna stop this mixer, and then she's going to, by hand, she's gonna put in those dry ingredients, and then she's just gonna mix it the rest of the way by hand. This is an easy process. You might have a lot of ingredients, but it's really not hard to make at all. You're going to put in your on your baking sheet. You're going to lay it down. What we do is we kind of wipe it off with a damp towel, just so that the wax paper, because we're using wax paper, will stick to the baking sheet. Now you can use the non-stick wax paper if you choose, or parchment paper, but either one you have is going to be okay. So we just lay that down, and once it's laid down, we just spray it with some cake release or pan release spray. But I will tell you, you still get a little bit of a stick, so you have to just be careful. And you'll see that she got one. You'll just have to be careful when you get ready to take the wax paper off the bottom of your baking sheet. Now, once this is all blended together, you're gonna see her prepare the baking sheet, and then she's going to lay out the cake batter onto that baking sheet. Now, if you can see, that baking sheet has no height, and you don't need height to it, because you're just going to spread it out and you're going to make this dense cake. But you need the cake to be dense in order to hold the filling that's going to be in it. I have this every year at Thanksgiving time, and this is truly, truly good. I've only personally made it one time, but I never try to steer you wrong. Her making this dessert is far better than me making this dessert, because this is just something that she's just talented with. And this is a very good dessert, and your guests will be raving about it. And you can freeze it. You can freeze it. So you don't get ahead of yourself when you get into all of your food preparation, because you still have to make the complete meal. And when you have so many dishes to cook, it's kind of hard to concentrate on just one. Sometimes you can rush through it if you don't make it, days ahead of time. So what you want to do after she's added that pan release, you want to spread this dense cake out onto the cookie sheet, which is exactly what she's doing. Now you're going to pick up some of the, it's going to flatten itself out when it's in the oven, because the heat is going to cause it to do that. But this is still a real, real good cake. What you want to also have is, you want to have a dry towel or a cheesecloth, something of that nature, because you have to roll this cake up. And you're going to roll it up without actually, you don't want to just roll it without having something in between it. Because if you do, the cake is going to stick together and you won't be able to get it loose. So you want to put a towel in between it, and that prevents the cake, when you're rolling, from actually sticking together. Now, on top of this, she's going to go ahead and add some nuts. And when you look at the walnuts that she's using, you can see that we ran them through the food processor. And now we're putting them down, because if you use them and they're just chopped, they're going to be too thick. And they may even pierce holes in the bread, so you don't, in the cake. So you don't want to do that. You want to just chop them up. Not very, very fine, so that you don't really have a nutty type taste. You want to have it, but you want your pieces to be small. So she's layering that down now. And I'm going to post the temperature that this was actually cooked on, because I'm not certain and I don't want to quote it. But you're going to preheat your oven, and I'll post it right in the next section. I'll post the temperature, and I'll also put it in the description box that this was actually baked on. Does not take that long to bake. I'll also post the time. She's baked it. Now she's taken it out of the oven, and there it is. And see, you didn't get a big rise out of it. It didn't rise. It didn't go over your baking sheet. It's not supposed to. So now you're going to take that and you're going to roll it into your cheesecloth, or you're going to roll it into your towel that you have. I buy my dish towels. I like to use bar towels, and I buy them in bulk. So I have like about 25 on hand at all times. But I like the feel of those towels when I'm washing my dishes, so I keep them on hand. So what she's doing now is she's taking the confectionery sugar and she's sprinkling it all over the dish towel. Now, right here, you see she dropped it and it still did not release itself. That's simply because this is a dense cake and it won't release itself and just fall all over everywhere. You know, you'll be able to handle it. You may think that you won't, but you actually will. So she's going to take off that pre-sprayed wax paper that we had on the bottom. Again, I say if you want to use non-stick, you can. But we just used regular wax paper, because it will not melt and it'll cook that cake just as good as your non-stick will. And so then we just pulled off, or she just pulled off the wax paper, and that left her with just a dense cake. Now, in some places, when you get ready to pull it up, it may tear. Just go back and just pull that little piece off, because it is an easy process and it won't stick to the point where it's going to pull your cake up. And that was the point of putting down the release, the spray release, so that it won't pull your cake up. Okay, so she's taking that off. And once she get all of that off, this is where Mother Knows Best comes in. Now, here it is. I don't make this pumpkin roll. And she said, I said, but I love the cream that's inside. Oh my goodness, it is so good. And I told her, I said, put a little bit more in it. She says, Mom, I don't want to do that, because if I put a little bit more in it, it's going to ooze out. And I'm like, oh no, you said to yourself, I've been cooking 40 years. I know what I'm talking about. Just put a little bit more over in it. And she didn't want to do it, but she did it anyway, and you're going to see the outcome of my advice. And at that point, I just sat over there and I shut up and I didn't say anything else. But now she's rolling the cake up, and she's going to sit it to the side just so it can get that curve effect. And so she can move to what is the next stage of that. See, that was real simple. And it's not going to crack and break up on you. You may get one little crack, but that's it, and it'll be fine. Now, here's where she's making the filling. And in the filling, in the bowl already, she has already added the butter and the cream cheese, because you want to whip that together and make sure that that is well blended. Now, to that butter and that cream cheese, once she gets that all mixed up, she's going to go ahead and she's going to add her confectioner's sugar. And she's doing it like about a tablespoon at a time. And it's going to blend up. And I'm telling you, this is, oh my goodness, this filling is so good. And one of the reasons that I think it is so good, because I see her do something that I don't see a lot of other people making this pumpkin roll will do. She's going to add the pumpkin puree. Now, we had pumpkin puree that was left in the can. You're only going to get one small can. You don't need to get a lot, but it's not a lot that's used in the actual cake. So you'll have some left over. So she took and she added some of that to this filling, which gave her more of a pumpkin flavor. But it just changed the whole pumpkin roll. I'm telling you, that filling is so good. And I think that's the reason why it never stays in our house long enough for me to either get the video posted or to have it so I can put it on the Thanksgiving Day table. What you saw her just add was the vanilla. She added the vanilla into that, and then she scraped down her bowl. And next you're going to see her add in the pumpkin. Now, I'm telling you, this will get you a ton of raves. Anybody that likes pumpkin, or they like pumpkin and cake flavors mixed together, this is really, really good. And this is a traditional dessert to have on your Thanksgiving Day table. And like I said, I do it all the time because I truly do enjoy this. So now she's going to add in the pumpkin, and she's going to blend that in for a little while, and she's going to scrape down the sides of the bowl and the bottom. And then we're going to move on to the next step. Now, of course, this is room temperature, but you don't want to have, you don't want to have wherever you're mixing it at. Don't want it to be too hot. You want everything to be room temperature, and your kitchen probably should be just a little bit cool. And I think that's one of the reasons that we always make this dessert ahead of time, because I think that it's easier to get it out of the way before the kitchen really gets hot with the turkey and the rolls and, all of that. Potato salad, everything that you have to boil the potatoes, so that's just a better time to do it. And this will keep, because you can you can freeze it, and this will keep a week or so in your refrigerator waiting on Thanksgiving. That has a beautiful color to it. The texture is real nice, and it's if you look at it, it's spreadable, so it's ready to go into this pumpkin roll. But I'm telling you, it tastes so good. That pumpkin just does something to it. I mean, it just really brings in it takes the flavor to a whole nother level. So a lot of people will do it, and it won't have the faint orange cream. They'll make this pumpkin roll, and it'll have like the white or the yellowish looking color to it. And that would just let you know that they only went as far as to add butter to get the yellowish looking color, or they went as far as just adding the confectionery sugar. So now she's unrolling it because she set the pumpkin roll over to the side until she made the filling. And here's where I said, add more filling. Add more filling, it'll be okay. Mom, I don't want to do that. I know how this is done. I don't want to do that. I don't want to add more filling. But of course, I want to add more filling, and she went ahead and did it against her own better judgment. And, I'm not saying, let me just rectify this real quick. I'm not saying that I know everything about everything when it comes to the kitchen, because I don't. I can still learn a lot, and I can learn a lot even from my daughter or other people who haven't been cooking as long as I have. Now, you see that layer, how thick it is? That was when I realized Okay, I've given out some wrong instructions. And girl, you need to sit over here on the side, and you need to do what you do when you're sitting on the side. That's be quiet. But I didn't do it. And if you could see the expression on her face, but she kept on doing it because I told her, so I appreciate it. And then she's going to start to roll. And you're going to see where she runs into a couple of problems with rolling. So I will say this. She's going to see this video and she'll know that I'm sorry for, saying something about a dish that you prepare so well, Melody. And I should have probably not, I should have not said anything, but I did. And she's going to, and I just want to let her know that I did apologize for that, even though I apologized that same day. But she's going to, if you could see the expression on her face, is priceless. Because she's like, I tried to tell her and she wouldn't listen. And now look where we are. Well, it's at this point when she does this first scraping up some of the filling, that not only am I sitting in the be quiet section, I did that. I be quiet. But this is such a good dessert, and I just wanted some more of the filling in it. So she's going to take some out. And she's going to put it back in the bowl. At that point, I'm not saying a word. Then she's going to roll it. And she's going to have to take some more out. But she didn't hassle me, She just, she went along with it. And she just took some out. But it just taught me, when people know dishes well, don't try to improve on it. Some things you have to improve on, but some things you don't. Some things is just better to let people do what they do, and you just sit over in your section and just be quiet. So she took it out, and then she finishes rolling it. It's not a hard thing to do, so if you run into too much, just take some out. But she didn't have to do it if Mommy had shut up. Okay, so now what she's doing is she's adding some more powdered sugar onto the roll. She's gotten it all rolled up. She's adding some more powdered sugar. And of course, those little lumps that you see, that's just pieces of the walnuts. But this is just delicious. I'm telling you, you put this on your Thanksgiving table and you're going to really love it. And it looks good as well. I mean, it came out good, but it always does. And she's really a very, very good baker. So what we did with that one is, even though she's showing it, we wrapped it in plastic wrap, double wrapped it in plastic wrap, and then we put it in the freezer for the holidays. We even did that with the piece. She's going to cut off a piece on the end. We just stuck it back up and rolled it all together. This came out good. I think if you try it, you're truly going to enjoy it. And like she was waving, as always, thank you for watching. Chris cooked for you too. Bye.